He's looking straight up like I'm pure evil. Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more reactions to Casual Geographics, one of my now favorite channel on the platform, because I don't know what it is exactly beside the fact that it is nerding straight up about animals and nature, and also that the delivery of the jokes are amazing, but I kind of get the feeling of like watching like Steve Irwin during the weekend. At least that's what I'm feeling, and it is a nice feeling. Now, that said though, today we are no longer diving into the waters, I hope not, but back on land with 10 animals that we definitely forgot existed.
Quick question. What do you think is the most popular animal in the world? Well, I was curious, and after extensive research, I found a map. A world map that used Google Keyword Planner and cross-reference searches for 170 different animals across 180 countries to determine the most loved animal in each country.
South America, what are you on right now? Look, I do understand storks as well as hippos because, well, they do migrate down there or in the African continent, or with the hippos that made their way over there. But whales and penguins? Yo, Brazil! Alguém pode explicar, por favor? I'm butchering Portuguese right now. Like, I can understand sharks, because sharks actually do dwell well in warm waters. We have those as well in Cameroon. But yeah, I don't know about those whales. It is at least a surprising fact for me. But I tell you what though, before he even zooms onto the African continent, I'm pretty freaking sure that there are 2 or perhaps even 3 that are very popular there. One would be the gorilla. The second would be the hippo, because obviously those do come in those natural habitats. And the third one, despite it being the national animal for many countries over there, is not the lion. I'm willing to bet a fortune that it's the tiger. And I have 0 stats on this, okay? I have 0 stats on this, but my only predominant fact for this being true is that whenever I've traveled to an African country, be it in the southern part or the northern parts, there are always in those open shops when you can buy like souvenirs, like stuffed plushies for your cousins back home. There are always tigers there. Tiger plushies, like kids are not supposed to know about these animals in the continent, okay?
For example, monkeys won over Australia, pandas have Indonesia in a chokehold, and apparently my mother country of Senegal loves hippos. No comment on that. But you want to know what the overwhelming favorite was? The runaway winner was, by far, the tiger, with 44 countries riding for them. At number 2 with 28 countries were hippos, proving that you gotta be famous to be infamous. These were the top 10 animals according to this map. It's cool, but it's not perfect. The lion is the national animal for 19 different countries, a record, but they just barely made the top 10. But then this got me thinking, what about all those animals that don't get nearly enough talk time?
Dude, the okapi is freaking majestic. Look at it, man. I know that it kind of looks like if the ink from the printer kind of ran dry, but look at that, it's straight out of a fairy tale. It's like a mixture, like if we get to see the front there, looking a little bit like a giraffe that got stuck halfway. Bred with a zebra. And I know I said zebra and not zebra. Sometimes there are conflicts with the vernaculars. It happens. Well, we're missing the spots though, but still get the point. Look-wise, it is still there.
Well, this video is for them. Here's 10 animals you either didn't know existed, forgot about, or that my personal bias wish we talked about more. And starting off is the maned wolf. It's one of those animals whose name does nothing for it, since it's not a wolf, not a fox, or even a Latin coyote in black knee-highs.
I've never seen a maned wolf before, so this is new to me.
Apparently, they're just themselves, and they are literally built different.
I was imagining that it was a dingo. I'm sorry for pausing too much there, but like, it kind of, doesn't it? Have a little bit of a shape, but just way too tall.
Tall enough to look down on some Great Danes, but at about 50 pounds soaking wet, they're more in the weight class of a basset hound. How you can dwarf Scooby yet get bodied by Snoopy's depressed cousin is unconscionable. And virtually every picture of a maned wolf looks AI generated. It's a genetically sequenced identity crisis, so it's only right that it sounds like one.
Wow.
Is it a roar? Is it a bark? Is it a cry for help or the damnation of a higher being? Nobody knows.
I mean, to be fair, to be completely fair, this is one of the few dog noises, wolf noises, that I actually find to be kind of pleasing. Usually you either get those small dogs who just deem themselves being like the terror of the neighborhood because they have a Napoleon complex, and or those other dogs that are just way too high and mighty like the husky.
Bark.
Oh god. One of our neighbors actually has a husky, and like almost every second day when she goes on the walks with it. She does that more often, but we usually get to meet her every second day. But like when we get to see the dog, it straight up goes like, it's high noon, and then fires up. Ooh! It's kind of hilarious, but it's also very annoying.
Not even him. Also, you probably heard that the Maine wolf smells like Snoop Dogg's salad. This is 100% true. In fact, they've even gotten some zoos raided by police looking for cannabis. All they found was a canned mid-piss. If the canine family had a cookout, this ginger still puppy would be the one pulling up with veggie burgers. Most of a Maine wolf's grocery list includes fruits and veggies, with Lobera, aka the wolf's apple, getting its name from this portrait mode fox constantly eating it. They also made history as the first wild animal to be successfully treated through stem cell therapy after one got hit by a truck. All in all, I think they're pretty cool. I'd call them a dog that can't dog, but that's more accurate for the raccoon dog, another animal you probably forgot existed. Most
Japanese
people know about two things: the Tanuki
mythology.
Super Mario, and their role in Japanese mythology as the Bakedanuki. And due to certain aspects of that myth and the fact that I'd like to stay monetized, that's all I'm gonna say about them. Because unlike them, I don't have the balls to test guidelines.
Weird anecdote, okay? Me going off on a weird tangent again. The first time when I encountered these creatures was in a manga and later on anime called Shaman King. And it was the worst introduction that you could ever have to them. Like, one of them was like, he was supposed to be a spirit of like one of these tanukis, and it straight up grabbed a kid with its balls. Now, I don't know how young I was back then, like perhaps 12. I was like, this is not okay. This is not anatomically correct. I don't care if it's mythological. This is disgusting.
Raccoon dogs aren't even remotely related to raccoons and basically stole their entire flow through convergent evolution. They're canines, meaning they sit at the same lunch table as wolves, dogs, and coyotes. But their closest cousins are foxes. Which reminds me, close your eyes. There's no jump scare coming, I swear. This will be fun. Just close them real quick. All right, everyone ready? Okay.
No way. Quick question. What do we call a pack of raccoon dogs? Please let it be a circus. Please let it be a circus. If we have a school of fish, a murder of crows, and freaking, what are they called? Goats, baby goats are called kids. Please let it be something as dumb as a circus.
That was not the sound of two clowns with marital issues. That was what a raccoon dog roll call sounds like. You see what I mean by the whole dog that can't really dog properly thing? They're the only canines that hibernate. Seriously, they're the only one. They're that special. They can also climb trees, because of course they can. They're willing swimmers, because sounds about right. And they may or may not have been responsible for a certain virus putting the world on timeout. But considering the war crimes committed against them for their fur, I'm willing to look past it. There is no looking past this ET-looking antelope. This is a saiga, and that is 100% unfiltered. They really—
Yo, what in the Star Wars? I'm trying to recall if I've ever encountered one of these animals, either in a zoo or somewhere on a safari. I've been through some safaris. Because, yeah, believe it or not, even when you're living in Africa, you just don't encounter animals just willy-nilly like that. Wow. Dude's got a vacuum cleaner in front of him. But the horns, though, those are pretty neat looking.
Really do look like Star Wars in the face. That sizable schnoz piece is designed to filter out the dust kicked up by a herd that used to be million strong. It's like a built-in respirator that also makes them look like Alf's illegitimate child. I realize that's a dated reference, so here's Alf and here's a saiga. You see it too, right? Now you might be wondering, can that nose be used to amplify mating calls and increase their chances with females who sexually select for bigger noses? And you're absolutely right, they do use their noses to amplify mating calls and increase their chances with females who sexually select for bigger noses. The size queens come in many forms. And speaking of female validation, eligible bachelors will run fades with each other using those horns in order to gain control of a harem. Unfortunately, those horns can get them laid and laid to rest, since saigas have been victims of poaching, and that and disease and habitat loss nearly has this Narnia goat's entire population in the gulag. Today, they're critically endangered and found only one place in the world, in the dry grasslands and semi-deserts of Central Asia. But that's too depressing, so here's a baby saiga. Now here's 2 baby saigas. But you want to know what's even more depressing? There's a good percentage of the population that doesn't realize that narwhals are real. Yeah, we didn't make the—
Of course they are. Dude, beside the internet obviously popularizing a song, the narwhal song, we've all heard the narwhal song. They are basically the unofficial unicorn of the sea, despite the fact that the horn that they have is actually a tooth.
Those up, they really do be out here swimming in the ocean, causing a commotion, because they're just so awesome. It's an aquatic unicorn, except that horn is actually a giant inside-out tooth with millions of nerve endings. We used to think that narwhals use this single tooth overbite for violence, but with how sensitive it is, it's much more likely that it just tells the whale about the world around it, similar to cat whiskers. Also, that tooth is flexible, and they can bend it a foot in any direction, and I didn't even know that until this video. One reason we don't know more about them is because narwhals are painfully shy introverts that can legitimately get flatlined by panic attacks. When narwhals get pressed or stressed, their heart rates will slow all the way down to 3 to 4 beats a minute. A slow heart rate is great for swimming in ice water all day, but a heart deciding to work part-time while you're fighting for your life is a good way to see the gates. And with a crippling fear of people, human interaction can put nature's anxiety whale on life support. But even this high-strung struggle cetacean has an unlikely friend. In 2016, scientists noticed a male narwhal traveling with a pod of beluga whales, and ever since then, they've watched him run with the belugas like he was one of their own. But there's a good chance this is more than just a friend situation, because narluga isn't a ship name, it's the result of a beluga and a narwhal hooking up and creating a hybrid.
Yo! Nature be like, you want to create something big? We went out there testing ligers and what's the other reverse? Oh my god, I keep forgetting the mix. Because ligers is the growth from a female lion and a male tiger, right? Because those are the ones that are compatible. Whereas the opposite actually did manage to yield something. Or how did it go? There was a study made about it. I used to remember that because that was in my phase of wanting to learn a lot about animals. I went through doing a little bit of research on that and read an entire paper. But that was basically our doing. Whereas nature just goes out of its way to create new species. Nice.
Which they can do, since somehow an eternal extrovert and a whale with a literal self-destruct setting for social interaction are related. Speaking of related, you know how I said the maned wolf isn't actually a wolf or a fox? Well, I can give you 100 tries. You'll never guess this deer dog's closest canine cousin. And that's because it's an animal a lot of y'all probably didn't even know existed. And that would be the South American bush dog. Even though they look like that meme of 5'11" versus 6 foot. We all have that brother, sister, or cousin we swear stole height from us. Evidently, the maned wolf took all the legs in the family and turned the bush dog into an ankle biter.
Is it like the situation of that small rodent? Oh man, if I could remember its name, and the elephant that are like direct descendants to one another. Like a mouse-looking creature that is just furry, that is basically just a miniature mammoth. And then the elephant, like they are straight up related, but the other one looks like a mouse.
I can only make this joke so many times, but if you took one look at them and thought they were a wolverine or an undercooked bear or even a really confused Tasmanian devil, nobody would blame you. Especially since for a while, we thought this weasel beagle went extinct. It took a few years for us to realize they didn't get discontinued and even longer to put them in the canine club. Bush dogs live in packs and they're kind of like the African wild dogs of the Amazon. But instead of running prey down on land, bush dogs would rather ambush ops in water, which they're really good at thanks to webbed feet, their ability to dive, but most importantly, the power of friendship. They usually go for small rodents, birds, lizards, and the occasional capybara. But bush dogs have been on record murking a tapir after chasing it around for hours. The same tapir that can weigh about 2 prime shacks at nearly 700 pounds. Yeah, the power of friendship. Finding one bush dog, let alone a whole pack, is veteran level difficult. difficulty, but if you happen to be walking through the jungle and smell salad, you might just get lucky, because the scent signature they mark their territory with gives a strong impression of vinegar. But since they can fold a several hundred-pound horse cow, luck might not be the right word. You need more than luck to catch this cat. The clouded leopard is so secretive and so introverted that we honestly don't know a whole lot about them. We do know that they easily earn gold medal for tree climbing, even for...
And cuteness. I have never seen a cat so cute in my life. And I'm calling it a cat because as far as I know, I know a bit about my cats. They are like the middle ground between the big ones, the panteras and the feliscates. So yeah. They are very special, kitty.
For a cat, they can rotate their ankles 180 degrees, which means unlike most other cats, clouded leopards can climb down a tree head first. They'll even cross a branch upside down for no other reason but to flex. In fact, their entire existence is a flex. It's widely believed that this overcast kitty diverged from the common ancestor of the pantheran cats up to 9 million years ago. Not only does that make them the most ancient species of cat alive today, it also makes them a living fossil. You see, on the left is the skull of a clouded leopard, and on the right is the headpiece of Smilodon, aka a prehistoric predator of the saber-tooth variety. In fact, clouded leopards often get called the modern-day saber-tooth because they have the longest canine teeth of any cat relative to body size. That's longer than lions, tigers, and even the Cayman's paralysis demon, the jaguar. Also, despite its name, it's not technically a leopard, and while you could call it the smallest of big cats, scientists widely believe that the clouded leopard is actually the link between big cats and small cats. Big cats referring to lions, tigers, jaguars, leopards, and snow leopards, which also aren't even real leopards either, and small cats being the rest, like cheetahs, pumas, ocelots, and of course domestic cats. Also, it's not really a size thing, it's more like big cats can roar but can't purr, and small cats can purr but can't roar. Clouded leopards can't do either, instead they do this.
That's how it sounds. They're Goldbluming. Oh, the Jeff Goldblum of cats. Jeez. Okay, this is so dumb.
I hope that made sense. I feel like that got complicated. And it gets even more complicated with this next animal. Because what do a manatee, a dugong, and an elephant all have in common? They end up at the same family reunion as the rock hyrax.
Yes!
That's right, this African boulder turtle, this marmot from the motherlands, is cousins with the biggest thing on earth with legs. The hyrax is also clade mates with aardvarks, elephant shrews, and tenrics. It makes less sense the harder you think about it. Although in their defense, hyraxes have the same tusks that elephants do, but like with the maned wolf and the bush dog, someone had to get the short end. And did they ever? Hyraxes also can't really control their body temperature, despite that being one of the first rules of being a mammal. So to fight the fact that nature made them as close to cold-blooded as a mammal can get, hyraxes spend most of their time basking in the sun. I used to think they were just chill like that, but apparently chill is exactly what they're trying to avoid. Also, they make a sound that's almost a guaranteed trip to therapy if you ever hear it in person. I'm not gonna do this for every animal, but I couldn't not add this.
They were the alarm from the intro.
This thing has more in common with mammoths than it does with hamsters. I want that to sink in. And the only thing arguably more unbelievable than that is whales and dolphins being the closest living relatives of hippos. At this point, nothing really needs to be said. We all know hippos are homicidal demon pigs with the temperament of a landmine. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're only Google famous the same way Logan Paul was back in 2017, if you know you know.
Jesus Christ. Like, I can dislike them, but my God. The description.
Said, we all know hippos are homicidal demon pigs with the temperament of a landmine. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're only Google famous the same way Logan Paul was back in 2017, if you know you know. But what a lot of people don't know is the tiny travel-sized version that lives today. The pygmy hippo is 5 times smaller and half as tall as their murderous cousins. They're also forest animals, solitary and naturally shy, and they're much less of a threat to humanity. Just don't go and tell them that. You know, this one's name is Sweet Pork. I'm not even making that up. Like basically every other animal, they can be on demon timing if you push them enough. But clearly the aquatic oppression horse stole all their ill will, because no shot could you slap one dead in the face and not end up dead with no trace. Well, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Now, you've definitely heard of this next animal before. It's just that the last time you probably did, Chris Rock and Jada Smith were on speaking and not slapping terms. And of course, we're talking about Madagascar's top predator and a bane to lemurs everywhere, the fossa. Although with it...
Dude. Which actually brings us back to the point from the beginning. How do you have the tiger as being one of your favorite animal on the continent when you have things like the Siphacus? Dude, a primate evolved to have basically the best feature of like high insertion calves. Like, think about that. They are pogo jumping due to evolution. That's freaking awesome, man. Like, I have high insertion calves, which allows me to run fast and jump high. But it sucks when you're trying to build a good physique, back when I was doing bodybuilding. However, it is ground for having the greatest beef with gravity. Like, think about how awesome it would be to just be able to bounce around like that. They are awesome. But yeah, basically, on the continent, they saw that creature, and also different of those saiga cattle, like the oxen and cattle with like comically large horns. No, let's forget about all those and focus on Richard Parker. I really wanted to make a Life of Pi joke, so I had to.
It's spelling, I'm pretty sure it's actually fossa, but the day I pronounce it like that is the day I lay my childhood to rest. The fossa is pretty much a Madagascar mongoose. And if you know how psychotic mongoose are, you'll understand why the lemur population treated them like
Jesus
terrorists.
Christ,
But one thing I never realized because of the movie is they're not that much bigger than the lemurs they eat. And they have the same flexible exorcist ankles as the clouded leopard, meaning trees are pretty much their home court, especially since they have tails longer than a Monday to keep balance.
Damn,
Fossas also have, I'm gonna say, interesting mating practices. And once again, I want to stay monetized, so I'm not gonna step in that minefield. Just know that if you follow a female fossa long enough, you might not hear the choo-choo, but you will see a train. And while it's usually lemurs taking the L, as apex predators, this monkey cat murks anything that doesn't cook them first. Sometimes they'll even work together, with one climbing a tree to scare prey onto the ground, where the partner can retire their will to live. Not bad. Also, I know you see that flex. But there's no bigger flex than this next animal soloing the US Navy. Back in the 70s, US nuclear submarines were forced to fall back after they took damage to the rubber neoprene layer covering the sensitive sonar domes. This compromised their navigation, and at first people were rushing to the conclusion that the commies had gotten one over on them. What actually happened was that out of the over 500 species of sharks, the US Navy managed to get griefed by one of the smallest. The cookie cutter shark is only about 1.5 feet, and these giant killers feed on some of the biggest animals in history for a living.
Just got a flashback there. Somebody was joking once in the conversation about the smile of a piranha or one of these. Like, they are looking comically evil.
They got their name because this parasite will swim up to a whale and then use its jaws to slice out a perfectly circle-shaped piece of flesh. It doesn't kill them, but the sea hickey it leaves behind is for life. It's like a parasite tramp stamp. And it's not just whales, anything from seals to killer whales to even other sharks can get it. On rare occasions, even some humans find out the bitey one.
Look at that thing! He's looking straight up like, I'm pure evil. My ancestors were swimming down the cavernous depths of the ocean for hundreds of thousands of years. All while you humanids were evolving. And what has that brought you? All the way back to me. Fucking insane. God, that's a smile.
In the 80s, up to 30 US submarines allegedly took damage from the cookie cutter's dental, to the point where the only solution was a fiberglass coating. We always talk about great whites, tiger sharks, bull sharks, but none of them can say they successfully committed hit and runs on a superpower's navy, and with a resume like that, they definitely deserve to get talked about more. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. If you learned something from this video, kindly consider checking out my book, 100 Animals That Can Effing End You. Link in the description if you're interested. And if you knew all 10 of these animals already, you have my respect. Drink water, get sun, hug your moms. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
Hey babies, you got half a million people that love yous.
Oh, it's so cute!
Yeah. So you got half a million people that love you. Yeah.
Oh God, this is heart melting. God damn, just the sheer variety of things that nature has produced, like things that are able to bring a smile to your face and other things that just should never smile. I am overall very impressed by the Maine wolf. I did not know that was an actual thing. It looks to be the type that is domesticated. Well, it's not domesticated, but like it's approachable since it was around humans and wasn't acting up. But that's fair enough. I mean, we are not supposed to be while treating them as pets. But damn, what a beautiful creature. But guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, please do go and subscribe to Casual Geographics if you aren't already, and like the video if you did like it, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye.